Hello, everyone. Today is Star Wars Day, the greatest day the whole year. Okay, not really, but it's pretty close. It's pretty much up there with Christmas and Easter and July 4th and, all those other great holidays. Today should be a national holiday, and it pretty much is. But, May the 4th be with you. And, today is Star Wars Day, so we're celebrating maybe the greatest movie franchise of all time, definitely the most popular. And there's a lot of factors that go into why Star Wars is so popular. From all the great planets and worlds that are so unique and beautiful to all the great moments, lightsaber fights, dog fights, all the great emotional moments. But what drives those great worlds and drives these great moments is the characters. With any movie and storylines and everything like that, you have to have great characters in order to progress that. And Star Wars has done an absolutely fantastic job with building unique characters that don't feel like retreads or anything like that, that truly feel unique. So to celebrate one of the greatest days on Earth, we're going to do my favorite Star Wars characters. Now, granted, there are some spoiler warning, there are some spoilers for Clone Wars season 7. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you just kind of be careful with when I talk about Ahsoka and Maul and who's at number 2. All right. So today I did my top 12 because, well, first off, it was really hard for me just to do 10. And there's actually 12 Star Wars movies. So I felt like 12 was a good round number. So speaking of number 12, we have Padme Amidala. Now, I used to really not like Padme. I thought she was annoying. And obviously the Attack of the Clones love stuff is not good. And then Natalie Portman plays her and Jane Foster, and I didn't like Jane Foster, so it was kind of weird, but I've gotten over that because I've realized that there's a lot of other situations around those critiques I had. But after my rewatch of the prequels and Clone Wars, I absolutely love Padme. She is so strong in her senator role. She's powerful, and she's not afraid to get into action either. She's not afraid to grab that blaster and go to work. And it was just really nice seeing all that because, she's really good at what she does. And her romance with Anakin is enticing. Yeah, it's a little toxic. Kind of the intrigue and mystique about it is, it's a secret. And so, all that is just so good. Plus, she's just a baddie. So every time she's on screen, everyone always lights up because she's beautiful. So that's another added bonus. Number 11, we have General Grievous. Just the sheer concept of General Grievous, to me, is amazing. A cyborg Jedi hunter with 4 arms and 4 lightsabers is just so awesome to look at. And even with his limited screen time, in the movies and in Clone Wars, you get a really good sense of his personality. He's arrogant and, a little bit of cocky, but, very, very capable. There's a reason he backs up that arrogance. And his little cough is so funny. He's be talking, I love that. And another great thing about Grievous is out of all the prequel memes, I find all the General Grievous memes the funniest. These are the latest 2 I've stumbled upon. And memers are just the best. And, you combine Star Wars and Grievous and it just all comes together and makes some A-tier memes. Number 10, we have everyone's favorite Wookiee, Chewbacca. Someone who's been there since the beginning, of the whole franchise. He is loyal, and him and Han are funny, and he just gets along so well with everyone. And, everyone just loves Chewbacca. And then they brought him back in the sequel trilogy and whatnot. And, he's just, flowing with Rey and Poe and Finn, and him and Lando are back at it again. And, he's friends with Yoda. So Chewbacca's just friends with everybody. And I love that about him. And, he's gotten so good at Sabak that, they had to let him win, but now he's so good that they can't be beat. So character progression, awesome. But when he started crying when Han and Leia died, I started crying because that was sad, bro. That was real sad. At number 9, we got everyone's favorite droid, R2-D2. So this is just a funny R2 meme I found. But, it just shows how loyal R2 is. R2 doesn't care. R2's going to help out. He's like Chewbacca. He's down for the count with his friends. And that's what matters to R2. And that's what matters to me. And, R2's got a lot of personality. The little beeps and boops. It's so funny. It's like, you don't know what he's saying, but you can basically understand what he's saying. And watching him in Revenge of the Sith light those droids on fire, that was awesome too. Number 8, we have Ahsoka. Now, you want to talk about character progression. Wow, Ahsoka has had an absolutely fantastic arc in the Clone Wars. Going from this annoying little Padawan to a competent soldier to a leader of, teaching people how to rebel. She's just grown up so much. And then when the arc where she leaves the Jedi Order after she's framed for murder, she's mature enough to go off on her own like that. Ugh. That arc hurt my feels. Ugh, I watched the Clone Wars finale today, and I'm still not over it, but whatever. And then having her back in season 7, with her Martez sister arc and the Siege of Mandalore was just awesome to have her back. Her and the Darth Maul fight was beautiful, amazing. And then her escaping Order 66 with Rex and all that, and then the end, so emotional. Ahsoka is so awesome. Speaking of another great Clone Wars character, Darth Maul. Now, obviously in Phantom Menace, he just has the awesome lightsaber fight with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, but that's it. He's just the cool-looking guy that killed Qui-Gon and that Obi-Wan put down the shaft. There's really not much there to go off of, which is sad because he's awesome to look at, and he's so cool. But then, much like Ahsoka, the Clone Wars came in and really transformed him into just a cool-looking guy, into one of the most complete characters in the history of the franchise. Watching him create the crime syndicate, Crimson Dawn and all that, his takeover of Mandalore when he beat Pre Vizsla, his relationship with his brother Savage, his battle against Sidious with his brother was awesome. And then in season 7, just watching his plans all come together. And, when he's sitting on the throne when Ahsoka and Bo-Katan walks in, that gave me chills. And when he offers Ahsoka and just all his pure hysteria around Darth Sidious was really wanted. He's this powerful Sith Lord, but he is scared out of his mind of Palpatine, which just adds to the mystique of Sidious. But just all that. And then in the last 2 episodes, this hallway scene, which was better than the Darth Vader hallway scene. And then just this. Ugh. So awesome. Number 6, we got Han Solo. So obviously he is part of the backbone of the original trilogy, going from this smuggler to general to, bona fide rebellion hero. It's just awesome to watch. He is charismatic and charming to watch on screen. His relationship with Leia and Luke really ties the whole trilogy together. He really helped make the OT what it is. And then in the sequel trilogy, well, really just in Force Awakens, his relationship with Rey was really nice. Him trying to get Ben back to the light was really sad. His death scene was terrifying to watch. And then in Rise of Skywalker, it's the really emotional moment with Ben, and that was just really nice. All of that, he's just a great character. And then in Battlefront, he's so good. He is so freaking good in Battlefront. So that helps his case too. All right, coming in our top 5, we have Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. Now, I just did a video about Kylo Ren / Ben Solo, so I won't talk about him too much. Make sure you check it out. The link will be in the bio, or the link will be in the description below. But I've loved Kylo Ren ever since we saw him the first time in Force Awakens. He's the only sequel trilogy character on this list. Spoiler alert for the top 4. But just him walking out, he froze the blaster. He's got an awesome lightsaber. He's moody and all that. It's just pure rage. And then, he kills Han Solo. That's super, super, super emotional. So that, he's always going to be associated with that. And then in The Last Jedi, when he continues his stuff with his relationship with Rey, he has the awesome throne room scene with Rey. His fight with Luke was awesome. And, at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, he's the supreme leader and he's stomping people on Mustafar and he's got a new mask. And, he does the cool little lightsaber flip thing he does. And then the back half, here he's redeemed and now he's been solo and he's got a team with Rey to stop Palpatine. All that's just awesome to watch. And just watching Kylo Ren tackle with his family legacy and go from the regression of the angsty apprentice to supreme leader to Jedi is just awesome to watch. And number 4, we have Anakin Skywalker. Now, at first, I was going to put Anakin and Darth Vader at the same spot, but I figured, I better just separate it just because, I was introduced to them at different times, so I feel like it was only appropriate. But Anakin and the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, obviously that's a good part of his story, and that's always, his stuff with Padme and his kind of hit or miss relationship with Obi-Wan, his ever-developing relationship with Palpatine, and all that is nice to watch. But in Revenge of the Sith, that's when he really pops off. This is when the relationship of him and Padme are at its peak. His fall is really, really well done. You really feel for him because it really, he really didn't do anything. Everyone's just kind of a jackwagon to him, just cut. I don't know. It's really weird. And, they don't grant him the rank of master and all that. And then, Palpatine's slowly manipulating him. And Anakin's just a victim of circumstances. If the Jedi would have treated him better, he would have never turned. So he's just kind of a tragic character. And, we all love those kinds of characters that we feel for. And, when he turns and Order 66 and he kills the younglings and he kills all the people on Mustafar and all that. And then, of course, the fight with Obi-Wan on Mustafar is just beautiful. And then, his transformation into Darth Vader is very powerful. And it's really sad to watch him go down this path because you really do feel bad for him because it's not really his fault. It's just kind of all these things happen. And I just love watching Anakin. Number 3, we got ObiWan Kenobi. Now, if we were just going off the original trilogy, Obi-Wan would still be on this list. He would not be at 3, though. He'd be, further back, obviously. I love watching him in the original, the New Hope, where he's been Kenobi, and he's mentoring Luke, and he fights Vader, and his death is really sad. And then in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, when he's just a Force ghost, and he's helping Luke through that's really awesome to watch. But in the prequels, my man pops off. Ewan McGregor absolutely nails the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just his progression from Padawan, the Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, just really awesome. Obi-Wan to me is the quintessential Jedi. Very, very nice, mannerly, just all that is just awesome. And then, Obi-Wan always gets to throw down with some really awesome fights. Obviously the Darth Maul fight, him and Anakin versus Dooku, him and Anakin versus Dooku again, him versus Grievous, him versus Anakin on Mustafar. Man, Obi-Wan has a really busy Revenge of the Sith. But that's how it goes. And then just this scene right here really sells me on Obi-Wan. Just how emotional. Makes me cry, bro. I can't help it. Can't help it. At number 2, we got Darth Vader. Maybe the most iconic villain of all time. He's just menacing to look at. He's got the suit and the armor, and it's all black, and he's got the iconic voice and the breathing, and every time you just hear his breathing, it just puts, just gives you chills. And obviously, he's got great moments. He's got Obi-Wan, him versus Obi-Wan, and then Empire Strikes Back. He just stops the blast with his hand. He just eats it like, oh my God, okay, I see you, Vader. And then, when he reveals to Luke that he's his father, that fight on Bespin is awesome. And then Return of the Jedi, whenever, Luke is just not going to give up on him, and Vader is trying to deny that there's light still inside of him, but he knows that there is. And finally, just him being redeemed when he throws Palpatine down the shaft, is just beautiful. One of the great, from going from Anakin to Episode 6, one of the greatest character arcs in the history of cinema. Period. And then in Battlefront 2, awesome. He's a freaking tank. And then, oh my god, the Clone Wars final scene where he's in it. Oh, and he picks up Ahsoka's lightsaber. Tears. All right, honorable mention before we go to number 1. We got Bossk, Yoda, Captain Rex, Mando, Plo Koon, and Savage Opress. But at number 1, and the character that takes the cake on Star Wars Day 2020 is Luke Skywalker. I mean, he's the GOAT, period. Ever since the beginning, he's been the main man. He perfectly encapsulates the hero's journey. He's one of the greatest characters in cinema history, just from a character progression standpoint. And, his undying willingness to do anything he can for his friends and the people he cares about is what I like the most about Luke. He does not care what Yoda and Obi-Wan are telling him. He's going to do what he feels is the best and right. And you just love a person like that who just who perseveres, And then, of course, he has absolutely outstanding moments when he blows up the Death Star, and then all the training with Yoda on Dagobah. Like I mentioned earlier, the fight with Vader on Bespin, and then he learns the truth about his father. And then he decides that he's going to save his father at all cost. He's going to redeem this man, and he doesn't care. And then the final moments with him and Anakin, now that he's Anakin and no longer Vader, is just awesome. And, I just love Luke just because he doesn't care about those things. And he wasn't perfectly handled in the sequel trilogy, but I feel like he still ended up with some great moments. And so for that, he ends up at number 1. So thank you for checking out today's video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and comment anything you would like to below.